Hello everybody, I'm Dan. Welcome to my Java tutorial series. Throughout my tutorials I will teach you Java using just Notepad and the command prompt. The order in which my tutorials are organized on both my website at javacjava.com and my YouTube playlist is designed to maximize learning by building on concepts from prior tutorials. This tutorial is about the Finalize method. Let me go ahead and pull up my website here, javacjava.com. Click on the menu pop-out and select the Java OOP Tutorials. This is the Java Object-Oriented Programming Tutorials page. I'm going to scroll down to the Finalize method. In my garbage collection tutorial, I discussed how Java uses the garbage collector to free up memory on the heap. Objects are stored in the heap memory and they become eligible for cleanup when they no longer have an active reference. And eligible is the keyword here. There are occasions when you will need to perform some sort of action when an object is about to be destroyed. Luckily, Java provides a method for doing just that. It is called the Finalize method. Unluckily, it is important to understand the Finalize method cannot be relied on to actually execute. And I'll explain later in this tutorial. To implement the Finalize method, you simply need to add it into your class. Its structure looks like this. Protected void finalize, and then here's your method body, right? Don't worry about the keyword, about the protected keyword just yet. I will discuss what purpose it serves in a future tutorial. But basically you have your return type of void finalize with no arguments. Any statements that you want to be executed placed here, that is if finalize is actually invoked. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll down here and highlight this code. Control-C to copy, or right-click and select copy. Let's move the browser off screen. I have a shortcut to my command prompt down here. Now if you don't, go ahead and just select New Shortcut, type in CMD, Next Finish. That'll create one for you. It's easy as that. Let's go ahead and open that up, type in Java C. You should see a whole bunch of stuff scroll by on your screen. If you don't, go ahead and watch my tutorial on installing the Java Development Kit. You want to make sure you get that installed and configured properly before continuing on with the tutorials. First thing I'm going to do is type in CLS to clear the screen, then CD space backslash. CD is short for change directory, backslash will take us to the root. Make a directory called Java. I already have it, but if you don't, it'll create it for you. I'm going to make a directory and I'm just going to call this Finalize Method. And then we're going to notepad finalize method.java. Finalize method.java is going to be the name of my source code file. I'm going to enter on that. Control V to paste or right click to paste. Okay, let's save this. This is really simple. There's two classes in this method here, or two classes in the source code file, right? Class box and finalize method. So in the class box, we have a constructor right here, a no argument constructor that calls super, and I haven't explained what super does yet. I'm saving that for a future tutorial there. But it will, we'll call the print line method, and we'll display this string literal. This object reference is located on the heap at, and then plus this. Now if you remember from my two-part tutorial there, this basically contains a reference to the current object, right? So that'll display that to the console. Looks something like box at, and then some sort of hexadecimal memory address. All right, so fairly simple on that. And then I've added in the protected void finalize method right here. And I don't worry about protected yet, as I stated. But basically, it'll display to the console here using the print line method this string literal finalized plus this. And of course, this once again is the current object reference, right? Let's come up to the finalize method where I have the main method entry point there, and simple little for loop 6 times. We're just going to use the new operator. We're going to allocate a box object and initialize it right here, right? This box constructor, basically when it gets initialized, I'll call the no argument box constructor, which is this down here, which will display this string literal plus the box reference to the console. Let's go ahead and do this here. CLS, Java C, F8, there, tab, right? And we'll compile that. I'll do Java and then tab. We'll clear all that off. And let's go ahead and run it. So we got this object reference is located on the heap at, and then this is the actual object reference, right? Which is returned by this. So box at and then some sort of heap memory address there, right? So, oh wait, we don't see the finalize being printed out. That could be an issue. Let's move back to my website here. So what went wrong? How come we didn't see the finalize method execute? Finalize is not called when an object is no longer in scope. Finalize is called just prior to garbage collection. So, okay, let's move back here. That's interesting. Let's run this again. All right, we keep seeing that the same memory address is created at, like, for the first one there, right? Here's the first one's the same with the last one and everything like that. So obviously the garbage collector is actually running because it's freeing up the heap memory so we could reuse it all again, right? So let's go back to the website again. So I'm just going to kind of repeat this here. Finalize is not called when an object is no longer in scope. Finalize is called just prior to garbage collection. Because of this, your program should utilize other methods of executing statements that need to be run before the object is destroyed. Things like closing file handles, freeing up resources, etc. should not depend on finalize for normal program execution. As I stated in my garbage collection tutorial, we have no way of knowing when the garbage collector is going to run. In this case, the garbage collector ran sometime after the completion of my main method. So the string literal, right, finalized, could not be displayed to the console. So you might be at this point going, well, why'd you even do this tutorial if finalize is just, you know, completely worthless, basically, right? And well, it may or may not be worthless. I don't know. Maybe someone has found a purpose for it there, but you know, in other languages like C++, you have what's called a destructor, which will run when the object's being destroyed, and you can put viable code in there that you need to have done. But I guess this is kind of like Java's answer to the destructor is the finalize method, and I don't know. You know, probably wasn't the best designed piece of method that you can implement there. So, but in order to demonstrate the finalize method, I will make an infinite loop that creates an object on every iteration. Hopefully we'll see some finalize roll across the console. Now you can press Control-C at any time to terminate the loop. I'm just going to go off topic here one more time. So the finalize, like if you go and you know, you apply for a job somewhere, they might ask you, you know, what's the difference between final, finally, and finalize? You know, that's probably going to be a pretty common, you know, job application question. So after, you know, you continue watching my tutorials, I'll talk about final and finally and finalize. The answer is the three have absolutely nothing to do with each other at all. But now you'll know what finalize is after watching this tutorial. So let's go ahead and come down here. You know what? I'm not even going to I'm not going to cut and paste this code. I am just going to move the browser off screen. Let's clear out this hot mess over here, and I'm just going to create an infinite loop. Let's save these, save this, Java C, and then F8, right? And let's go ahead and run it, Java and F8 on the keyboard. Okay, so we're basically creating objects and they're getting thrown on the heap left and right. Now eventually the garbage collector will, you know, wake up, get off its butt, and actually start doing its job. Now when that happens is largely depending upon the size of the heap, which depends on, you know, basically what sort of device, you know, this program is being executed on and how much memory it's allocated for the Java virtual machine to actually, you know, keep creating objects there. So I guarantee at some point in time we will start seeing the finalize roll across the screen there. So we just have to be patient. There we go. Okay, so you can see we're still creating objects based on, you know, this over here, but then over here you can kind of see finalize scrolling through there. Now I'm going to hit Control-C on the keyboard, right, which stops execution. I'm going to scroll up just a little bit there, and we can see all sorts of stuff here, right? We're still creating objects, throwing them on the heap, but earlier objects now are finally getting finalized. So basically the garbage collector finally woke up and said, okay, I'm running low on memory on the heap, I guess, maybe, who knows why it does whatever it does. But basically you can see that, you know, it actually started cleaning up the heap there. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this and close out of that. And I'm going to just leave you with some final thoughts, and some of it's just reiteration on what I said earlier. But basically, I just want to reiterate that finalize is not called when an object is no longer in scope. Finalize is called just prior to garbage collection. Because of this, your program should utilize other methods of executing statements that absolutely need to be run before the object is destroyed. Things like closing file handles, freeing up resources, etc. should not depend on finalize for normal program execution. The bottom line is this: don't put code into the finalize method that you absolutely need to have executed. That concludes this tutorial. Thanks for watching.